Hey everyone, it's Thomas here. So today I'm going to talk about the Bluesound Node 2i. Now the reason why I have this unit here is because I reached out to Bluesound asking them to send me a review sample. After making the video on the Musical Paradise tube DAC, I got a few requests asking me to look at other DACs too. I figure I'll take the time to talk about a streamer instead. Yes, this is an entry-level one, 650 Canadian on Amazon. Now, streamers allow you to connect to your computer, allows you to connect to your online streaming services such as Tidal, Spotify, and so forth with your cell phone. So that's one great advantage with it. You don't necessarily need your computer. And for me, when I chose the streamer, I wanted to make sure that it has a lot of good reviews, so I know that I'm getting something decent. Now, today's video, I filmed it with Frederick, friend of mine, and I'll play that at the second part of this video. Now, before I transition into that video, I just want to go over a few points. Now, if you look at the unit, it's actually very stylish, very small, very light, and this, as I mentioned, is streamer, DAC, and a preamp. So if you look at the back, you see that there's the RCA output on the left. Now, this you would plug it directly to a power amp if you want to use this as a preamp, or you will plug it to a preamp if you want to use it as a DAC. Next, you have the subwoofer out. So if you plan to use this as a preamp, you can actually have this also connected to a subwoofer. Next, you have the coaxial out. That is if you want to use this unit as a streamer, because what you can do is that you can use the coaxial out and the optical out and plug it to an external DAC. So this is great for people who later on want to upgrade to a better DAC. You have this option. Then next you have the optical in, where you can plug, let's say, a computer to it, or you can plug a CD player. Next you have the analog in. I guess you can connect your computer to it that way, but because this unit is meant to be on a network, you will connect your computer to it via the network through the Node 2i software. So overall, as I mentioned, a very versatile unit. And I really like the design, very stylish. You can easily hide it anywhere. So when it comes to a streamer, what is important is that it has to be easy to use, and also it has to sound good. Talking about sound, I'll cover it later on in the video with Frederick. Regarding the interface, it is actually pretty good because it is intuitive, it is easy to use, and it is stable, and it looks pretty good. I like the fact that it has a lot of services built in already, for example, Tidal, Spotify, and so forth. Now, I personally used it just for Tidal. I didn't try the other functionality of the software. I did go online and I read up on it, and people said, yeah, there's still some quirks to be worked out with the software. But overall, when I used it, it was pretty stable. It didn't crash on me. And as I said, it's quite intuitive. So with Tidal, all I do, is just access my library with my cell phone, and it works pretty good. The other thing I like about it, it has tone control. So you can either use it as a preamp or a DAC, you can play with tone control. At 650, it is definitely worth your time to try out. Especially you can get it on Amazon with a safety net. Are there better solutions out there? I don't know. I've not tried them. If you do have some recommendations, sure, put it in my comment section. But what I do know is that after spending a bit of time with it, I would say that this is a very good solution. So if you're somebody with a very expensive DAC, you can actually get this as a streamer and just connect it to your DAC. So you can use it that way. Or for those of you who buy this as a starter kit, meaning that later on you want to upgrade to a higher end DAC, you can just actually buy that DAC and just plug it to this one and just use the streamer functionality of this. So in that sense, it's very versatile. All right, so we're going to transition into the main video now. And just before I go, make sure you like the video and subscribe. So today, we're going to talk about the Bluesound Node 2i. I got Frederick involved here because Frederick is used to playing with DAC in that price range. So I figure, okay, this will make sense. And so let's start. Frederick, why don't you introduce yourself, and maybe let's talk about, what do you feel about the DAC?
All right. Well, hi, my name is Fred. First of all, I'm just a music lover, and I'm lucky enough to be able to, often comes to, I go to Thomas' place.
Or unlucky enough, because by you coming over, you start hearing the difference. That's where you start spending more money, buying more expensive gear. Okay.
That's true.
Anyway, go on.
Okay. So yeah, I'm lucky enough to be able to listen to Thomas' system quite often.
All right, so in my system today, I have the Node 2i connected to the Burmester preamp, the wired for sound, I hope that's how you pronounce it, monoblocks, and the Pioneer S3EX speakers designed by Andrew Jones. So the backend over 10G MRSP is not the bottleneck. My goal was to see how well the Node 2i can perform in a system like this, and if it can keep up with a system like this. So what do you think?
So today for the listening session, we're comparing a few DACs.
Yeah.
We compared the Node 2 to the Denafresp RS2
Yeah.
and your Exosound
Yeah,
DAC.
E28, yeah.
And it's not until we actually A/B test them that we saw a difference. There is a difference, but the Node 2, I guess it's good enough for me. If I walk here, and just listen to the Node 2 alone, it would have been good enough.
Yeah.
It's good. It's clear. You don't feel like it's really bringing the whole system down.
Right.
It's up to the Thomas level, I would say.
Yeah. So, yeah, for sure. If we start comparing A/B tests against the higher end DACs, you will hear a difference. And I would say if you have a $10,000, $20,000 system, of course, look for a DAC at that level. But it doesn't embarrass itself when we hook it up to my system today. We thought that, we were quite impressed with it. In fact, what we did after that, we actually took out that $300 DIY Class D amp and plug it directly to the Node 2i. So what do you think about that? How was that?
I was quite impressed. I think most people, if we didn't have the chance after to put in a much better amp, I guess, but if we didn't have that chance and we just listened to the Node 2 and that amp, it was good. It wasn't bad sound. I had nothing to say against it. The sound was sharp. It had good bass, the highs, the mids, everything was there.
I guess there is such a thing as a threshold, right? Good enough. Is it good enough, right?
Yeah.
Because if you have unlimited money, for sure you can buy this stupid expensive stuff, right? But there's a point where I go like, okay, it's good enough for me to enjoy it, and that's the key word for me: enjoy it. Is it good enough for me to enjoy it?
Yeah, and the other thing is, you're talking about upgrading, but this would probably be the last part in my system that would upgrade the DAC, because I'd play with speaker, amps, even maybe cables before I even think about going to the different DAC, because the price gap in order to get a difference is quite substantial, I guess.
Right, because if you want to hear a significant difference, you actually have to jump from this Node 2i all the way to my Exosound, which is probably about 3-4K MRSP. When we compare to the Denafresp RS2, which is almost double the price, do you feel like there was a big gap
between the Denafresps?
Yeah.
Other than maybe the voice, in the Denafresps, the voice feel very real. You're listening to maybe a saxophone. It will feel a bit more real.
There's more texture, yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, they're quite close. And, I don't think I'd be able to pass an A/B test every time.
Okay. So I'll just it'll give the Denafresp a run for its money. The Denafresp is definitely better. I hope so. At almost double the price. But I'm just saying that unless you do critical listening, unless you know what you're listening for, which I'll cover in the RS2 video, the Node 2i is okay.
I'd say it's even better than okay. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think most people are going to get a product like this. And not only that, but it's more like a lifestyle product.
Right.
The fact that it has the Bluetooth.
Oh yeah, let's talk about Bluetooth. How do you sound? We A/B tested Bluetooth versus wired. What do you think? And Bluetooth, what we did, we used Google Music, was it?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, Google Music versus Tidal. With the wired.
Tidal with the wired.
Yeah. Okay, so
now there's a difference. 100%. We could tell right away. But the Bluetooth is very good.
Okay.
Much better. At least for myself, before Bluetooth, it was a big no-no.
Okay.
As soon as going through Bluetooth, it's bad quality. You hear noticeable distortion right away. You kind of get that with the Bluetooth at higher level out of the Node 2, but it's less apparent. You don't hear it as much. And I think most people wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Well, at my place, just now when we tried it, we didn't really hear distortion though.
No. It was
Right?
good.
So now let's talk about the caveats. Okay, I mean at 650 is not a perfect solution, obviously, right? There's some caveats. What caveats have you found with this unit?
Well, I don't know if I'd say a caveat, but the initial setup is a bit annoying because it took quite a bit of time. I didn't know what it was. Once you're connected, you have no issue. It's very good. That was my biggest complaint.
Yeah, mine too. It took me a while to set up, and I am pretty good with computers and stuff like that. And I think part of the reason I was telling him earlier is that the software is not fast, not responsive. The first time I set up, I was like, click, 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 why is nothing happening? Later on, I realized, okay, I have to click, wait, click, wait. Just have to be a bit patient. And once it's set up, it works pretty good. Alright guys, so we're going to wrap it up at this point. Now, to summarize it, you're looking at a unit that has the new type of sound, right? The type that is very analytical. And I think a lot of people will like it. If you're looking for the more analog sound type of DAC, then you have to look at the Musical Paradise Tube DAC that I reviewed earlier. But I would say most people would prefer this kind of sound. I know analytical does not sound like a good word, but the reality is that the new type of sound appeals to a lot of people. Lots of detail, speed, clarity, instrument separation. This is very strong. If you look in DACs under $1,000, its performance is consistent with DACs under $1,000, but the better type of performance. I do, however, want to set the expectation clear that this is not like a $4,000 DAC. There is a difference. But as I said in the past, there's a point where it is good enough. And Frederick, anything else to add to it?
Yeah, another thing is it's very easy to use. I mean, once I got the unit on my home, I found myself listening more often to music because you just got to get out your phone. If your amp is on, you just select a song. You got music playing. And I think that's a big part of it because no matter how good your equipment is, if you're not listening to your system, it's not, at least for me, it's not as worth it as a unit like that makes it very easy to use.
Right. So I guess you'll probably also use it more even for like background music type, right?
Yeah, exactly. If you have people over and you're kind of annoyed to use small units that have bad sound quality, you get this in your system. You have the ease of use, but also the high quality of sound.
Yeah. The good part is that if your friend comes over, they don't get to touch your system. They just use their phone and stream their music to it as opposed to
exactly.
Plugging something to your system, right? I don't want people touching my system, So I think this is another plus that, we didn't think about. All right, guys. So with that, I'll see you next time.